This program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host and opinionated jackhole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
Hey, welcome back to Fletch Nation, another edition. This is the post-election extravaganza.
There's your $20.
Just gonna say, you owe me $20.
Yeah, he picked 62, right? 63.
I said no less than 63.
That's what you said. We got 62. I was 55, and let me tell you something.
So 62, is that within the margin of error?
The 52, 62 is perfect. I don't know who might want to do stuff in Louisiana, but they better check in with the senior senator from the state. Mm-hmm. If you follow where I'm,
large
or maybe
and in
he's
charge.
The junior senator. I don't know what. They better check in with him, John Kennedy. Mm-hmm. They might want to check in with John and see what he thinks about the GOP endorsing somebody for governor and
a year ahead.
A year ahead.
I was wondering if you were going to bring that up.
They might want to check in with John and see what they think about, exactly what they're going to do about this state legislature or something. You might want to check in with him. Just saying.
I think that John Kennedy is in a position right now to become politically one of the most powerful men in the state, if not the.
He is. And by the way, let me give you a little statistic. Last night, with all the victories, wasn't as many as we hoped, and we'll go through that in a minute, but with all the victories, John Thune in the United States Senate got 67% of the vote. Mm-hmm. In South Dakota, I believe, where Thune is from. The second guy behind him in getting the most votes, the highest percentage, was John N. Kennedy of Louisiana, in a state that is bordering on purple.
Yep.
Okay, and I think maybe somebody needs to take a little peek at that. Just a wee bit of peek. Like the chairman of the Republican Party, of the Central Committee. I know you're powerful, but you didn't get 62%. Just say. But anyway, we'll pass on by that.
Now, if some of you are not up to speed, what we're kind of alluding to is, the fact that
Fletcher's, you can't figure him out.
The state Republican Party came forward and endorsed Jeff Landry for governor a year from now. The election is a year from now. Now, that's pretty irregular, especially when you consider that the very faithful Republican lieutenant governor might want to be in that race.
Yeah.
The very faithful Republican state treasurer might want to be in that race.
And might be a member of Congress, like Garrett Graves might want to be in that race.
Who knows, maybe Senator Kennedy.
But we're going to go ahead and do that, and we won't check in with the senator, because I understand, they didn't check in with the senator to see what he might have thought. But he kind of let them go, and they got, and last night he got 62% of the vote. And it might have dawned on him, maybe we should have checked in with the senator. But maybe. That's okay, that's y'all's business.
Maybe.
Hey, now look, the Senate race. You and I sit here, we predicted that Mr. Gary Chambers would beat Mr. Mixon.
We did.
And he did.
Although Mr. Mixon was the one favored by the state Democratic Party.
But Mr. Chambers beat him,
to be endorsed, and we say Mixon's the man. What did he come up with, like 11% at the end of the night, something like that?
I don't know, but I know this. He didn't come up with what Gary Chambers came up with.
Gary Chambers nearly 20% of the vote.
That's right. So maybe the Democrats might want to check in with Gary. I'm just saying.
I think that the Democrats need to re-examine just exactly who their party is.
In Louisiana.
And who should be maybe making, who they should maybe include in more of their party decisions.
Now, Kevin, for 3 months, I've struggled with the red wave, I have. Right? Mm-hmm. And I was kind of bought into it at the end, but I was still struggling. We said 18 to 25 in the House.
Right.
It's going to end up about 22. Okay? That's where it's going to end up. We'll pick up about 10 to 15 seats in the House. Not bad, but it wasn't a red wave.
Simple majority.
Yeah, simple majority, but it wasn't a red wave. And some people were saying 40 seats at one time, and I said, no, let's back this down, you boy.
I don't think the Senate's going to happen, though, right?
Yeah, it is.
You think so?
Yeah. It's going to be, here's what today they've announced Ron Johnson, they've projected him the winner in Wisconsin. That's 49. Adam Laxalt,
So close.
It's 2.5%, but Laxalt, based upon the votes out in Nevada, and I've talked to people out there regionally, Laxalt will win that seat. And they're not long from declaring him the winner. Now here's what's going on in Arizona. Maricopa County again, but this time it might be regular, not irregular. There's about 700,000 votes there, and there really hadn't been pumped into the system yet. That's half of the, somewhere 40% of the state. And Kari Lake will win the governor's race because of that vote. She'll win those votes big time. Masters is 90,000 votes down. Blake Masters in the U.S. Senate race. I think, and I'm going to go out there on a limb on this. I've been out there on a limb on everything else, so I'm going to go out there on this. I think that you're going to see Blake Masters win that seat in Arizona by about 1.5 points. That'll be 51. And then we'll go to Georgia, and Georgia won't mean nearly as much because it'll be 51 already, and Herschel will win that race in Georgia. And he should have won it last night, but for reasons that I had explained about 4 months ago to a client of mine, y'all better get y'all's business straight in a certain part of that state with a certain demographic, and they didn't do it. But they will, I think that they will win Georgia, particularly if Masters wins Arizona, because it takes the pressure off. I think we end up with 51 or 52. I said originally 53. I missed it, folks. I said 53. You know why I missed it? Pennsylvania.
I wanted to bring up Pennsylvania.
Frankenstein.
Uncle Fester.
Uncle Fester.
John Fetterman.
Tough candidate.
It says a lot about the electorate in a state when a man who had a stroke in May can barely speak, and when he does speak, makes so little sense in a public forum that he can beat a learned man of medicine like Dr. Mehmet Oz, which I'm not a big Dr. Oz fan, but I always go for intelligence and reason over jumping on whatever bandwagon is marching by.
Oz was what a lot of people in the Republican Party said they needed, which was sort of that moderate kind of, and I thought Mehmet Oz was going to win that race. I really did. But I think that, and when we come back, I want to talk about, I don't want to go into it right now, but I want to talk about Wisconsin's Senate race and Pennsylvania's Senate race, because there's some comparisons there that are very, very important to the sort of the future of American politics.
Right,
then we'll talk about the House.
We'll do a deep dive in 3 minutes when we return with more of Fletch Nation right here.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
More interesting things with last night that I saw late was that there was an announcement that the president would not be making an election night speech because he was at home mourning the loss of democracy. Oh my God. But now, today, they said, well, he'll probably, by like tomorrow, Thursday, he'll probably make some kind of a midterm speech.
Well, he better hurry up because the longer he waits, the worse it's going to get.
The red tsunami kind of turned into a red.
It's a trickle.
High tide.
Yeah, high tide is good. High tide and green grass is an old Rolling Stones album.
Actually, I think it was Gary Lewis and the Playboys. Green grass.
No, high tide and green grass. High tide and whatever it was. That was a Rolling Stones. I remember it well.
I'm also thinking of an old song by the Outlaws too. Green grass and high tides.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I like that. But anyway,
all right, so
what are we doing?
Before the commercial, you talked about the similarities. We both were up pretty late last night, so if we're a little goofy. Here it is, Wednesday the 9th, as we record this program. But
I've been up all night, ladies and gentlemen.
Before the commercial, you talked about Pennsylvania, you talked about Wisconsin.
So let me tell you, the Wisconsin election, which, by the way, was pretty much what the polls had said. Johnson eked it out there by about 2%. But here's what happened in Wisconsin. And I was listening to Fox last night because I couldn't explain it to myself. And they had an analyst on there that went through it. There was an explosion of 18 to 30-year-old voters in Wisconsin. I think their propensity to vote, or their commitment to it, went up 300%, their turnout. I mean, it had an enormous impact on that race. It made it closer than what they perceived it would be. And I think that the same thing, to a lesser extent, wasn't 300%, but the same thing happened in Pennsylvania. Now, understand that we're talking about, what is that, Gen Xers? All of them are liberal. The vast majority are liberals or progressives.
I was going to say 18 to 30-year-olds, I would think.
Yeah.
A huge majority of them would be voting liberal Democrat.
And so that had an enormous impact. What that tells you is, it's a warning. It's a very early warning sign, but it's a warning, is that this electorate in America is changing. And as I die and am replaced by someone like my son, who is very conservative, by the way, but replaced by that age cohort, it makes the electorate more liberal, more progressive. So folks, America last night was a real, it wasn't like slap you in the face warning, but it was a really pretty good warning that America is changing. And
not in a good way.
Well, if you believe like I do, that's not in a good way. Now, let's go to let's go to. Well, I'm looking at the Laxalt Mateo or Cortez Mateo, or whatever her name, in Nevada, which is a really important race now, because with Johnson announced being declared projected as the winner in Wisconsin. If Laxalt does that in Nevada, then we're 56. Then you have exactly what you have today, a divided Senate. And then we will wait on Blake Masters or Herschel Walker. And I think it's possible that the Republicans could run both of those. It's not likely, but it's possible that we get to 52, which would be pretty enormous. One other thing.
It'd be enormous, but it would be 2 years of gridlock, would it not? I mean, even
well, we're going to have gridlock because
symbols in both chambers. You're going to have
that's the one. That's the one thing I think. The one clear message out of this election is that this nation remains divided, and the electorate in America and our politics are very calcified. What does that mean? That means that they got their blood's running. They got calcium in there that's blocking it up, and okay. We're not going to see breakaway like 94 Gingrich Revolution. We're going to see grinded out good old SEC football from now on for a while. The old-fashioned kind. They're less like to play.
Well, smash mouth.
Smash mouth. Boys, get on your big boy britches.
It's funny you mentioned 94, the 94 midterms. Last night I was talking to actually it was Mike Johnson, District 4 congressman, who was reelected by default because nobody qualified to run against him. But I was talking to him about his next 2 years in office, and he says, well, if we don't have veto-proof or if we don't have, filibuster-proof majorities, then that's going to make it difficult because there's going to be gridlock. And he says, I don't see another 94 midterm where President Clinton didn't necessarily see the handwriting on the wall, but he felt the heat coming from Congress, and he kind of came around on things.
Yeah.
He says, and he felt like Joe Biden is not that kind of a president.
He don't have to be. You understand last night, because the Republicans didn't do as well as they thought, what they basically did, and I'll get to one other thing they did, what they basically did last night was almost to ensure, if his heart's still pumping and his brain's still semi-functioning, they almost ensured that Joe Biden would be a candidate for president.
White House spokesperson this morning told Fox News he will run in 24.
They wanted to make it clear that so they taking a victory lap. The president is kind of that's what they're doing. Well, let me tell you who's not taking it.
Now he's going to become the paladin of democracy.
Yeah, right,
he has to protect
right.
democracy.
Right, but I'll tell you who's not taking a victory lap. Donald Trump. And this bothers me a great deal, so I'm going to make a point. I don't think that Biden should be making a victory lap because, frankly, he didn't do anything. I mean, if anybody did anything, probably Obama and Clinton. But here's the deal. The notion that Trump didn't win last night. Let's play this out. Mehmet Oz, that was one right there. That was the big one. Okay. But what tipped me off that this was not going to be a good night for Republicans last night was in the afternoon I got a call from somebody I know who said, hey, people over at the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee saying they may pull an upset in North Carolina against Bud. And they were very close. They stayed on TV with that race for a good while before they declared Bud the winner. Or projected him as the winner. And my point being is that if you look at the races, what you see is, Trump did have a good night. But there's an effort now, and we will talk about that when we get back, because it's very important to the future of the party.
All right, hold that thought.
And to America.
Be right back.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing. You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day. Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The 2022 Mazda CX-5 with iActive all-wheel drive and available turbo engine. It truly ignites the senses.
Save on your new CX-5 right now during the season of discovery at Team Mazda.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
I love Marty's hand signals as he's counting us up. Hey, welcome back to Fletch Nation. By the way, we do this program live every Wednesday. So today, as we tape this, it is the 9th. And we're at the fabulous Old School Barbecue Smokehouse on Coursey Boulevard, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Great place for some old school barbecue.
Old school
handmade, real old school barbecue. They don't have bottles of barbecue sauce in here. The barbecue sauce is made fresh.
I'll drink.
On the premises.
I'll drink.
Mm-hmm. So, what do we want to talk about? Some of these.
So look. So I want to make a point. I was making this point. Okay, so Mehmet Oz got beat.
Mm-hmm.
J.D. Vance in Ohio won.
Yeah.
Bud won in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Herschel Walker's in a runoff in Georgia. Adam Laxalt won in Nevada. Blake Masters, we're waiting to see. Well, he didn't win a couple of governor's races. He didn't win the one in Michigan. I can't believe. Worse than John Fetterman is that Whitman. What? My God, I don't know how that woman won.
And her opponent owned her in debates.
Owned her. And by the way, one of my things I talked about a lot I thought maybe a possible upset. And I'm not going to, was in the state of Washington. Tiffany Smiley. She got about 44 last night. Here's the way Washington works. We won't know that final until Friday. All votes in Washington are by mail.
All of them.
What I appreciate. All votes are by mail.
Okay.
So they're counting votes still in the state of Washington. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Whoever needs to call me and tell me I'm wrong. But that's what I understand. Look, here's the point. There are 2 congressional races in the state of Washington that they think that when they get all the votes in, the Republicans will win. And it will be much closer in the Senate than it even appears right now because of that. But Tiffany Smiley ran a good race, but she didn't win. The point being is that Trump got beat in some places, but the Senate races turned out pretty good for him. And if he had won in Pennsylvania, all hail Trump. But I do think that there's an effort now to use this as a way to crowbar Trump out of the presidential race and crowbar DeSantis in.
I think that there's a very real movement to do that.
I think there's no question about that. And the question is, will it work or will it not? Somebody said to me today, well, gee, Trump's not, he's only popular with 40% of the people. Well, yeah, that's true, except that 40% are all Republicans. Mm-hmm. And the last I checked, Republicans nominated their candidate in primaries, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, it would probably be that Trump would still be leading that. So you got to look at that and you got to think about that. Now, you were talking about, what was that, Clay Higgins?
Well, we had a couple of races here that I think that the media, we were hoping to get a story out of some of these congressional races. So much was made along the way of District 3, where Clay Higgins, Lafayette area, with a background in law enforcement in St. Landry Parish, was running for another term in office. He was.
And I didn't think much of the opposition over there.
He had a field of about, I think, 6 challengers,
Yeah.
a couple of,
I thought Clay would win.
2 or 3 Democrats, a Libertarian, and he also had an in-party challenge from a cat named Holden Hoggett. And much was made of that in the media about Holden.
Not made up either. Holden Hoggett.
Holden Hoggett. Much was made about
Holden Hoggett.
I think at the end of the night, Holden Hoggett was
4th,
3rd, or maybe 4th in the vote percentage. But Clay Higgins had like a
64.
Yeah, like a 40-point advantage over his nearest competitor, showing you that
Julia
the people over there in that area just love him.
Yeah. So Clay Higgins at 64, Julia Letlow at 65 or 66.
67%.
Well, 67. Garrett Graves, 81.
82, I believe.
82, okay. Well, Johnson didn't, okay. Let me tell you what's going on here so you'll know.
Steve Scalise, 75%.
Yeah.
Holy
but
mackerel.
let me tell you what's going on. What happened here in Louisiana? Something was done by somebody that really, really, really helped warp this election. I call it warp this election toward Republicans. They literally in turnout. I'll tell you who it was. It was John Kennedy. The Kennedy campaign had a very sophisticated GOTV operation, very high tech, very sophisticated, and they worked it very hard. And they helped a lot of these congressional candidates with 5 and 6% because they just bumped up the turnout among Republicans so much better. So things all kind of happen synergistically, as they say. This is a Gen Z thing?
Yeah.
Well, pretty cool, huh? Synergistically.
I love that. Don't you just love it when a plan comes together?
Yeah.
But seriously, if you haven't
We're
seen
at old school barbecue, too.
The margins for everyone in the U.S. House races in Louisiana were just huge. I mentioned Steve Scalise. Troy Carter, Democrat, going back for 2 years in District 2, the state's majority-minority district, 72% of the vote in that race. Does it just say we're happy with our current representation, or does that say more about the fact that none of them really had a
real opponent?
A real opponent.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know this and that. All I know is that the one person that had 11 opponents got 62% of the vote. No, I mean, I don't think anybody else had 11 opponents. I mean,
that Senate race was just nuts when you looked at the ballot.
So let's turn to Let's turn. I'm watching. Let's turn to the governor's races. Lee Zeldin in New York. There was I said on the show. I said I know I'm going to sound stupid. And everybody can call me stupid, but I'm going to pick Lee Zeldin to win. Well, I really didn't. My point about being was that I didn't think it was much of a chance. But on the other hand, I just couldn't let it go. Mm-hmm. He ran 47.5% in the state of New York,
which is amazing for a Republican.
It's amazing. It's amazing. There were, I think, 2 or 3 seats in the state of New York flipped because, or went to Republican, because Zeldin had run such a strong race up there. So, I mean, that was. By the way, did I see this incorrectly? That Chuck Schumer got about 56, and that was it, and 57%.
Yeah.
Which ain't exactly.
It's not stellar. You would think.
I mean, it's good. It's good. I don't mean.
Well, he wins outright, sure, but I mean.
But I mean, he's the majority leader. He didn't burn down the House.
It shows you that there are just as many.
We're back to rock and roll.
Fair amount of people.
Speaking of rock and roll, we're going to be rock and rolling out of here. We'll be right back.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Gallagher High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
Your favorite season is back, and now's the time you can score savings at the Team Automotive Group. You can sell your vehicle to us, and we'll pay you top value. Or buy here and get a 90-day warranty on the purchase of a pre-owned vehicle. Score VIP service and save at every location of the Team Automotive Group.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Back with Fletch Nation. Thanks so much for watching us on no less than five wonderful cable systems across Louisiana, and we're heard on 9 radio stations as well. So whether you're watching or listening, we thank you so much for being with us. So the midterm elections in Louisiana were not any big surprise. I think margins of victory were surprising for some. This is a question I want to ask.
You can't beat somebody with nobody, Kev.
I kind of posed this of you briefly a couple of weeks ago, but let's talk about it for a minute. Where is all the talent in the Democratic Party? Because I'm not seeing candidates that are brilliant. I'm seeing candidates that are John Fetterman. I'm seeing candidates that are Gretchen Whitmer. These people, I'm not seeing brilliance. What's up with that? And especially when you're running against an incumbent, why can't the Democrats in Louisiana find anybody that can mount a real challenge?
I don't know, Kev. I'm so tired. I struggle just to hang in there with that question.
Well, I'm sorry it took so long to frame it, but
I mean, look, it wasn't a bad question. It's just I'm like, I'm just knocked out right now.
But a lot of people. Let's take District 6 in the capital area.
Let's take it.
Garrett Graves.
Garrett Graves.
Garrett Graves wins by over 80%.
We got Rufus Craig ran against.
Rufus Craig, and can you name someone that challenged Garrett Graves?
By the way, congratulations to Steve Myers. He's in a runoff for judge.
He is.
Yeah. He is. It's going to be an interesting race.
It is going to be an interesting race. We had some interesting stuff go down here. We had some changes in the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board, which is
hey, I'm glad although I did hate to see Jill Dyson lose. I like her.
Yeah, I've known Jill for many, many years. Nice lady. There's another thing that we haven't discussed yet. 5 of 8 constitutional amendments rejected.
Yeah, and I'm surprised it wasn't more than that. That actually suggested that somebody read them, or at least somebody was running a campaign for some of them. The truth is that. How did you vote on those, Kevin?
Well,
can you tell me?
I'm not going to tell you how I voted, but my observation was voters seem to like homestead exemption.
They like stuff that they get.
And they like protecting your property rights or your property assessment rights.
Right.
They like giving that exemption and that tax break out to people they think are deserving people.
Disabled veterans.
Disabled persons, disabled veterans. And there was another one that passed that was had to do with your water bill. And
yeah. It was some kind of a.
Let's say you get a $15,000 water bill because of some huge leak that's not your plumbing or your fault.
So you get a break on that.
You won't get that bill. But that had to be in the state constitution.
Yeah, that was a little rough, wasn't it?
Yeah, but others, one bill would have allowed the state to. Right now, there's a cap of 35% on how much money is in a state fund that can be invested in equities. And they wanted to raise that constitutionally to 65%. Voters said no.
No, they don't trust that.
There was another.
The truth is that on those things, on those amendments, what that was pretty much a validation of the effect of, we don't really trust y'all.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And we trust y'all maybe 60. Maybe we trust y'all about 35% of the time.
Now, 3 more coming, 3 different amendments coming on the December ballot, December 10th. Now, what do we know about December ballots?
Well, it's going to be a real low turnout.
Historically low voter turnout. So you've got to be suspect of a constitutional amendment on a December ballot.
Yeah.
They want to be able to pass that with like 23% voter turnout. And so take a good long look at those amendments when you see them.
Yeah, well, that's then we have. By the way, Brian Kemp won a big race in Georgia.
Yes.
For governor. We hadn't talked about that, but that was a big win for him there. Just as Ron DeSantis' win in Florida, and Noem's win in South Dakota. She won big, as did Greg Abbott in Texas. So Shapiro won strongly in Pennsylvania for the Democrats. There was I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was a Republican elected governor of Vermont last night.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. We had a race here in Louisiana that was pretty interesting. It was in Shreveport. The mayor's race.
The Shreveport mayor's race, I'll do a quick sum up on it. Adrian Perkins, incumbent mayor running for re-election. Early in the race after qualification, he was challenged. Somebody filed suit and said the address data he gave on his qualification is not correct. He didn't provide the address where his homestead exemption is. A judge in Shreveport said, yep, this is correct, and you are disqualified. Well, he appealed that. And,
to the Supreme Court of the state of Louisiana.
The Circuit Court of Appeals said, no, he can run, and then, the Circuit Court of Appeals said, nope, still disqualified.
I think they upheld the judge, judge.
Yeah, so he took it all the way to state Supreme Court, which said, nope, he can run.
Now, my friend Jerry Harper he handled the case against Perkins in the state Supreme Court, and he said, Mayor Perkins went to the Academy, Army, and he had 10 questions on this form to fill out, and he got 6 of them wrong. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good.
I remember it.
The Supreme Court allowed him to run. Well, he finished 4th last night.
Fourth.
Yeah, 4th. He was kind of booted out of office.
He conceded the race before 9 o'clock.
Longtime state senator Greg Tarver ran second. And a former city councilman, lawyer in Shreveport, Tom Arsenault, a Republican, ran first, about 3-4 points more than Tarver. That's the runoff. It's in a majority African-American city, a strong majority, and it's going to be very hard for Arsenault to win.
Probably a low voter turnout.
Yeah, I would think Tarver would. I think Greg Tarver would be the mayor of Shreveport. Yeah, I do. And that's, it continues that trend in Louisiana. So, now one trend that didn't happen was the former mayor of Alexandria, Roy. He came back, and won for mayor of Alexandria last.
Nice.
Yeah. So a little bit of skirmishing around here. I don't know how much, but it was enough to keep you interested. Had some win and some lose.
Yep. But right now, the big interesting story is that 1 year early endorsement of Jeff Landry to be governor in 2023.
Oh, I tell you another one that was a big Tanner McGee, big time state representative.
Yeah, how do you do?
He got he was brain dead by the time they got through with him. He got beat about 63-37.
I like Tanner. He's a nice man.
Yeah, well, apparently you're one of the few that do. Apparently. You're in the 37.
Yeah. We're going to take another break, 3 minutes. We'll be right back. Another visit with John Carmouche is coming up next on Fletch Nation. Stay there, please.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Welcome back to Fletch Nation. Every week on this show, we like to spend a little time. Roy and the camera crew went and spent some time talking to coastal lawyer John Carmouche about his views on protecting, restoring Louisiana's coast and his views on a lot of other things as well. Once again, we take you to another visit with John Carmouche right now.
For those of you on the radio that listen to us on the radio and those now seeing us on TV, we're going to start a new little series today with John Carmouche, an old friend of mine who I've done work for, who's an environmental lawyer, attorney here in the state of Louisiana, and in particular as it relates to our coast, our land, and our water, and the cleanup of our coast, land, and water. John, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you for having me.
You have made a name for yourself in environmental law and litigation and so on and so forth. Tell us about your past and where you came from and what sort of sparked this interest.
Well, I'm from Napoleonville, Louisiana, born and raised. Then I went to E.D. White High School in Thibodaux. But my whole life, since I was a child, I've enjoyed the outdoors of Louisiana. And it kind of brings back old memories and brings back thinking about my papa and my uncles and who would gather every Sunday for a dove hunt and a quail hunt. And there's everything you can do in Louisiana. That's why it's so precious and we have to protect it. You have dove hunting, quail hunting, rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, deer hunting, hog hunting. It's all here.
Duck hunting?
It's all duck hunting.
Yeah.
It's all here. And if we don't protect it, and I'm watching the town I grew up in, Napoleonville, it's not the same. And it's because of what has happened on the coast. And we're watching things happen in our lifetime that is not going to be good for the future.
We're going to let me ask you this, rather than go to where you went to school and that sort of thing. Tell us what's happened way down there on the coast. I mean, has there been literally physical changes to what land is left and that sort of thing? What do you see down?
Roy, the biggest thing that we have done is collected aerial photography from the 1920s and 30s. And it is a dramatic change. We are losing hundreds of miles of land and marsh, precious of Louisiana, that protects not only the coastline, but it also protects upland.
Yes.
So it's a barrier. And those people's lives have changed. I mean, if you think back to the 1960s and 70s and you look at what happened then and how they lived and the prosperity they had to now, I mean, they've lost a lot.
Yes.
And they've had to move.
Yeah.
And frankly, we've lost good citizens of Louisiana to other states because they've had to move.
And we have an exodus problem anyway. So when a fisherman or people in the fishing business go into those marshes and those kind of things, what do they see that's changed dramatically in those marshes? I mean, if they punch the ground, 2 or 3 feet down in the water, what happens?
Well, if they punch the ground where they had an old pit, because now you can't see the pit, so what happened was the oil companies dumped their waste into the marsh rather than injecting it down where you couldn't see it below the land. So they dump this waste into the marsh. You take a pole, you scrape the bottom, and an oil sheen comes up. It looks like almost a BP oil spill in the marsh.
Wow.
And now these people, these fishermen, are seeing nothing but water. There is no more land. There's no more marsh. So not only do you see that, but you have old pipes, you have old wells that these regular recreational fishermen are having to deal with every day.
So those are the things that you bring litigation on, correct? To try to address and solve, correct? Or remediate?
The litigation is specifically to provable damages caused by the oil industry. Nothing more, nothing less. We have pinpointed exactly what the oil companies have caused, and we're only suing to restore to its natural state Louisiana's coast that was caused by the oil companies. That's what the lawsuit's about.
Now, we have this thing going on in Europe right now, and the price of gas and the price of oil is jumping like crazy. And I assume that that's going to continue because of the nature of, it was already jumped to $90 a barrel, and so it'd probably go to 120, maybe 150 now. So how does this affect Louisiana? I mean, what can you do? Do you have a program that not only deals with the litigation but deals with the economic future?
Since the beginning of the litigation, I'm a Republican who believes in bringing back jobs to Louisiana. And from the beginning, we need the oil industry. We need a balance.
So you're not against drilling?
No, I want drilling. And I think this is the opportunity for Louisiana to drill. We need to have a clean slate. We need to clean up the environment so oil companies can come in and operate and not be liable for what happened in the past. Let's open up Louisiana for business. The coast is open. Let's settle these lawsuits and open up the coast, and we'll have more jobs and more economic development in the coast than we've ever seen.
Fascinating. Last thing I want to ask you, I got off on all that and tell us a little bit about your education quickly.
I went to Catholic school in Prankerville, Louisiana, St. Elizabeth till 8th grade. Then I went to E.D. White Catholic School, and then LSU undergrad, graduated in business, and then I went to Loyola Law School in New Orleans.
Oh, you do more than just law business, though, right? I mean, you're in other businesses and enterprises, correct?
I do real estate business. I have a bunch of friends that I have teamed up with to do some type of economic development in different areas of the state, where we try to go in and develop to create jobs in other parts of the state.
Okay. John Carmouche is going to be back on a regular basis, we hope, in the coming days. But we thank you, John.
Thank you, Roy. Appreciate it.
So very much for his time and the access to him. So, Roy, I'm looking at the clock. We've got about 3.5 minutes left in the program. Summing up our midterm elections 2022, I think a lot of, especially conservative media, got a little whipped up here in the last 2 weeks before the election. And, we went from a nice red victory to a red wave, and then As recently as Monday, I was hearing people talking about red tsunami. Red
Yeah,
tsunami.
yeah, they were talking
We're
that.
going to have 55 seats in the Senate. We're going to have 230 seats in the House. And it hasn't really worked out that way.
No, but it's worked out pretty well for Republicans. They just they got to learn that you're not going to have the tsunamis and the waves that we were used to in 2010 and 1994 and that sort of thing. And but we will have a phone call.
From Tyler Bridges.
Oh, is that who that was from?
That's what your phone just said.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But I do think that there's a couple of things that we need to recognize of what we're dealing with here, which besides the phone won't start, is that the Republicans did work themselves up. I kind of even got into it a little bit, but I think we tried to maintain a little bit of reserve on this show about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was more hopeful about the governor's races than I was ultimately the Senate. I thought that we would pick up some more governor's races, and I'm disappointed about that. And so I think that there's some things that the Republicans can take a lot of solace in, and particularly if Masters wins in Arizona and Kerry Lake wins in it, there will be some things that they can take home, Ron DeSantis, etc. On the other hand, I think the Democrats have a lot to suggest to them that they're still legit. They're very legit. And that even though their president has been under the weather, so to speak, the fact is that they were able to win elections last night and do well enough to stave off the wave or the tsunami.
Well, and as you mentioned earlier, as more and more young voters come into voting age, are we going to see conservatives go the way of the dinosaurs?
We've always worried about conservatives going the way of the dinosaurs. We have. I mean, that's just part of being conservative, is that you're trying to conserve something, the past, the arrangements of the past, and so it's always a fear that those arrangements will fall apart. I think last night my sense of it was, it's truthfully my deep sense of it last night, and I remember feeling this, is that yes, the world is changing and the country is changing, and we didn't catch it this time, but there's coming a time when we're going to catch it. And that's just the way it'll be.
Profound thoughts there as we wrap up this week's program. We want to thank you so much for your time spent watching or listening, as the case may be. And join us again next week for Fletch Nation.
Listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, or planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.